my dear students. I'm glad to meet you all through this session. Welcome back to this miniature school. In today's class, we are going to read a story. A story which is maybe familiar to you. A fairy tale. Yes, the story is about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Shall we start? Once upon a time, long, long ago, a king and queen ruled over a distant land. The queen was kind and lovely, and all the people adored her. The only sadness in the queen's life was that she wished for a child but did not have one. One winter day, as she looked at the snow, she said to herself, "Oh, how I wish that I had a daughter that had skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony." Soon after that, the kind queen got her wish when she gave birth to a baby girl who had skin white as snow, lips red as blood, and hair black as ebony. They named the baby princess Snow White, but sadly, the queen died after giving birth to Snow White. Soon after the queen died, the king remarried a woman who was beautiful, but as well proud and cruel. She had studied dark magic and owned a magic mirror, of which she would daily ask, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" Each time this question was asked, the mirror would give the same answer. "Oh, Queen, you are the fairest of all." This pleased the queen because she knew that her magical mirror could speak nothing but the truth. Meanwhile, Snow White grew up a very beautiful young girl. One morning, when the queen asked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" she was shocked when it answered. The mirror answered, "You, my queen, are fair, it's true, but Snow White is even fairer than you." The queen flew into a jealous rage. The jealous queen ordered her huntsman to take Snow White into dense forest to be killed. The huntsman took Snow White into the forest, but found himself unable to kill the girl. Snow White pleaded for her life. He let her go, and he brought the queen the heart of a wild boar. Snow White was now all alone in the great forest, and she did not know what to do. The trees seemed to whisper to each other, scaring Snow White, who began to run. She walked and ran as far as her feet could carry her. And just as evening was about to fall, she saw a little house and went inside in order to rest. Inside the house, everything was small but tidy. There was a little table with 7 little chairs. Because of her hungry, Snow White ate few bread and drank a bit of milk. Against the wall there were 7 little beds, all in row and covered with quilts. As soon as she saw a bed, because of her tiredness, she lay down and fell fast asleep. After dark, the owners of the house returned home. They were the 7 dwarfs who mined for gold in the mountains. As soon as they arrived home, they saw that someone had been there. Looking at the bed, one of the dwarfs found that Snow White is lying there asleep. "This is beautiful young girl!" they cried out in amazement. She woke up in their noise and she frightened, but in friendly manner they asked, "What is your name?" She answered, "My name is Snow White." They questioned her further and she narrated her whole sad story. They agreed her to stay with them, so Snow White started living happily with the dwarfs. Now the jealous queen thinks that she is the most beautiful woman. So she stepped before her mirror and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, whose this land is fairest of all?" It answered, "You, my queen, are fair. It is true, but Snow White beyond the mountains with the 7 dwarfs is still 1,000 times fairer than you." Jealous queen realized that the huntsman deceived her. She became very angry. Then the queen disguised herself as an old woman and went to the cottage where the Snow White lived. And the jealous queen introduced herself as a poor old woman, and so our kind Snow White opened the door for her. The disguised queen started telling stories with Snow White, and she started combing the beautiful hair of Snow White with the comb, the poisonous comb. Now the poor Snow White fell deep unconscious. The jealous queen went victoriously, ha 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 ha. When the dwarfs came home that evening, they found Snow White lying on the floor. She was not breathing at all. They feared and they poured some water on her. At the moment, she woke up and narrated to dwarfs that what happened to her. And now the dwarfs warned her not to allow anybody inside the home for the safety of our beautiful, kind Snow White. Back in the palace, the jealous queen went in front of the mirror and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, whose the land is fairest of all?" Mirror answered, "You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but the young queen is 1,000 times fairer than you." Now the jealous queen's rage grew 1,000 times bigger. Then she disguised herself as a apple seller and went back to the cottage where Snow White lives. She called inside to buy apples from her. Snow White remembered about her caution from dwarfs and she opened the window now. Alice Queen, in the disguise of apple seller, gave her a piece of apple, which is poisoned apple. As Snow White started eating the apple, her body turned out blue and she fell on the floor. The jealous queen laughed vigorously and went back to the palace. She stood in front of mirror and again asked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all?" It finally answered, "You, my queen, are fairest of all." The jealous queen became very happy, but back at the cottage, the dwarfs came and saw the Snow White's dead. They were not ready to bury her in the black earth. So the dwarfs made transparent glass coffin. It could be seen from all sides. Then they put the coffin outside on a mountain, and one of them always stayed with it and watched over it. Miraculously, Snow White's body doesn't decay, but started growing more beautiful as a young lady. Time passes. One day, a prince entered these woods and happened to see the coffin as well as dwarfs. By seeing her beauty, at the moment he fell in love with her. He took her in by hand and he kissed him. And the spell broken and poison vanished. Snow White woke as she woke from her deep sleep. She started laughing at the prince. At that moment, she too fell in love with the prince. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all? The mirror answered, "You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but the young queen is 1,000 times fairer than you." Now the queen became rage on the mirror and tried to damage it. But fortunately or unfortunately, a piece of glass slit the jealous queen's throat. At that moment, the king also got out from his spell by the jealous queen. Back at the dense forest, Snow White married a prince and they happily lived ever. Thank you, my dear children. I think you like the story. Please don't be jealous with anyone. Everyone is beautiful on their own way. Be kind. Thank you, my dear students.